But the more she struggled, the more the bag pulled her in. The goats, the yam, the food, and everything she had put inside were now being sucked into the bag. Once upon a time, in the beautiful village of Ekoje, nestled by the banks of a mighty river in Ogun State, lived a kind and hardworking woman named Adesola. She was known across the village for her generous heart, always helping her neighbors with food, water, and advice. But despite her kindness, Adesola wasn't very wealthy. Her farm, though well kept, yielded just enough to feed her, and no more. She often dreamed of having more, not for selfish reasons, but to ease her struggles and share with others. One bright sunny morning, as Adesola walked through the forest to gather firewood, she stumbled upon something strange. Underneath a big shady tree was a small worn-out bag. It was odd because it looked old, but there was something shiny about it. Curious, Adesola picked it up, dusted it off, and looked inside. But to her surprise, the bag was empty. But it felt strangely heavy, as though it held something special. What could this bag be? It looks so strange, but something tells me it's important, Adesola thought, holding the bag closely to her chest. Maybe it's a gift from the gods, she said. With the bag in her hand, Adesola headed home, her mind racing with thoughts. Strange feelings of excitement and curiosity washed over her. That night, before going to bed, she threw a note of 1,000 she had tied in her wrapper earlier inside the bag to keep it safe. So she felt, and then she went to bed. To her shock, when she woke up by the morning had multiplied. It filled up the bag. Adesola's mouth widened in shock. "This is a miracle," she said. "I knew the bag wasn't ordinary, but not this." She kept it all to herself and never told anyone about the mysterious bag. The next day, she picked up a small yam from her kitchen and gently dropped it into the bag. The moment the yam touched the bottom of the bag, it began to grow and grow, becoming twice its size before her very eyes. This is more than a miracle," Adesola exclaimed, her eyes wide with amazement. "The gods must be smiling on me," she said. The next morning, she tried again. This time, she took a handful of beans from her storage and put them inside the bag. In seconds, the beans turned into bags and bags of beans, more than she could ever need. Adesola was overjoyed. She had enough food now to feed herself and even give to neighbors. But the more she used the bag, the more she wanted. Instead of using it for good, she began to dream of becoming rich. She thought to herself, "If I can grow this wealth, I won't just help others, I will live like the rich traders in the city." One evening, Adesola saw her neighbor Adebayo walking by with a beautiful plump goat. Adesola had always admired Adebayo's goats and thought to herself, "If only I could have a goat like that. That bag will help me to multiply it. Then I can easily return the goats and keep the other goats for myself." Without thinking, she hurried over to Adebayo's farm and asked if she could borrow the goats for a while. "Borrow my goats? Why?" Adebayo asked. But seeing the eagerness in Adesola's eyes, he agreed. He trusted her to return the goats just like she had said. "All right, but take good care of it," he warned. With the goats in her hand, Adesola quickly took it home and dropped it into the bag and multiplied until the bag was shaking violently. Adesola stepped backward, frightened, but instead of stopping, she grabbed another goat and shoved it into the bag, then another and another. The bag was now shaking wildly, and the goats were jumping out, running around the house, causing chaos. But the bag didn't stop. It kept growing and growing, and soon Adesola herself was being pulled inside. No, she screamed. But the more she struggled, the more the bag pulled her in. The goats, the yam, the food, and everything she had put inside were now being sucked into the bag. The bag was hungry. It wanted everything. As she was pulled deeper into the bag, Adesola realized her mistakes. The bag was not a gift, it was a curse that had come from greed, a desire for more than she needed. She thought back to her grandmother's words. "Don't let greed fill your heart, my child. It will swallow you." But it was too late. The bag had swallowed her completely, leaving nothing but an empty bag lying on the floor. Days passed, and when the villagers came looking for Adesola, they found her house empty. They searched high and low, but there was no sign of her. Only her neighbors who had noticed the strange events knew the truth. The story of the bag spread across the village, and soon the elders gathered to discuss what had happened. The village chief, Oba Adewale, called the elders to the village square. The bag of greed has consumed another. It happened that they already knew about the bag, but it was an ancient story that was told. The story was told a very long time ago. Some believed and others didn't believe, but it was real. They thought the bag had disappeared not until Adesola saw it. The bag was supposed to be for good, to help others and not just for personal gains alone. By the time it's used wrongly, it takes the person who picks it. "Let this be a lesson to us all," Oba Adewale said. "It is not enough to be blessed with riches. One must have a generous heart and a spirit that does not hunger for more than is needed." The elders decided that the magical bag must be burned so it doesn't take another life again, where no one could find it ever again. It reminded the villagers that greed could destroy everything and that they should be contented with what they have. And so the village of Ekoje lived peacefully again, with people who had learned to be contented. Moral lessons. Greed can consume you if you are not careful. It is good to want more for your family and your community or for yourself, but never let greed take over your heart. The more you take, the more you lose. It is always better to share, to be kind, and to appreciate what you have, for true wealth is in a generous heart. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.